Welcome to what is now a clean Sea Evo tank minus all that bubble algae in there. Now really quickly, my last video, which nobody watched, on how to make this acrylic top with all these custom ports in it, works really well and has kept my water in phenomenal. It does have an ugly curve to it, but it's working and it's functional. And at the moment, that's all I care about. Because my reef tank, which has no corals in it, so I'm not really sure if you call it a reef tank, maybe a marine tank, a fish tank. It is now back on track and it's looking clear, it's looking good, and I want to talk to you guys about what I did to fix that. Now, there's been several things that have happened. The first thing is I found my royal dotty back under my tank. I could not find him, couldn't figure out where he was. There for a while, when I switched to this new light, I didn't have a lid on the tank, and I guess he got out and went on the floor. That was really unfortunate. Since then, I added a clownfish, and during that time I had a really bad bacteria bloom in here, and I don't think that's what affected it, but the overall tank condition looked really poor. And when I took the fish back to the store, the owner told me, to the local shop I go to, that maybe I should check my salinity. And I have to admit, I was a little bit offended, because I was like, come on, I've had this tank now for years, and my other fish have been fine, and I've also added this anemone, as you can see in there. And everything's been well, and the fish seemed fine the first day, and then the next day I found it dead. So anyway, I've been using the plastic hydrometers, and both of them, I have two, and both of them read different things. He told me that my salinity was rating 1.028. When I checked it when I got home, it was 1.025, and so I don't know. Anyway, we're gonna go over the things that I did to clear up my tank, because you guys remember in the video I did a while back, it was absolutely horrible. And if your reef tank is looking horrible, you probably can't tell right now because the lighting, and my other tank over here is throwing off how clear and nice it's looking now. But it is pristine now, minus the bubble algae, and it cleared up, and I got it this way really quickly. So the first thing I did, and I'm gonna leave links to all this in the description for the things I did. First thing I did was I started using these. Now I've had these for a while. It comes in a kit with all of these glass beakers, or whatever you want to call them. Sorry, I don't know the correct name. So my Breaking Bad folks will probably know. Anyway, it comes with a kit, and I use those, and this is 1,000 milliliters, or I think that's 1 liter. And I started doing daily water changes of those. What I use for that is a magnetic stir, and I'll put a link in the description to that as well. You basically put that in there with a magnet, turn it on, and I mixed up just the right amount of salt water to do 1 per day with my roadie water. Now, I do have 5-gallon buckets mixed up as well, but at the time I didn't, so I was mixing it daily. I was being kind of lazy. So if you don't have 5-gallon buckets, maybe you don't have the space for that, you can mix up this much per day if you just have a small tank like this. And the magnetic stir makes it really easy. So anyway, that's one thing. I started doing daily water changes on that. There's also a bag of carbon in there, which you can't really see, but in the middle filter chamber, I stuck a bag of carbon in there. Got rid of that stupid little nano filter that I added before. I just kind of want to play around with it and see how it worked, and obviously that wasn't going to do hardly anything. So I upgraded to this pump here, and that's good and all. It gives a lot of flow and it gives extra filtration, but the biggest change was these two items here. So I got rid of the other scraper I had, and I got this, I think it's Aqua brand one. Works really well. I'll probably end up going to razor blades, honestly, but this has been phenomenal. I used it also on my ADA earlier. Really good. I like the handle on it. It covers a little more surface area than the other one I had. So that helped clear up a lot of the algae on the glass. But then the next thing that did the biggest wonder for me, because my water, I just could not get rid of this bacteria bloom going on that was keeping the tank really cloudy, is I got this UV filter light, or UV filter, I'm not really sure what you call it, and it looks like a jumbled mess there because there's a lot of parts to it. Or actually, there's really not that many parts to it. It just looks like there's about 3 parts to it. One part sticks to the outside of your glass, the other part goes in your tank. And I would say by the next morning, even that evening, it started to clear up my tank immediately. And then by the next morning, the water was crystal clear. So you can use that in freshwater or saltwater. And that to me did the most just wonderful thing for this tank. because I could not get rid of that stupid bacteria bloom. It was driving me crazy, even with water changes. And then my buddy told me water changes might be helping it. So I don't really know. I haven't looked into the science behind it, but I know that that thing 100% worked. I think I paid $50 for that one. That's a smaller one. I think it does up to, I don't know, actually that might be the medium sized one. That one might treat up to 60 gallons or 80 gallons. But obviously it worked fine in here. And at one point it came detached and was floating, but it doesn't matter. It's still pumping water. So anyway, those were the main things I did to get this tank cleared up and back to normal. Now, like I said, I still have corals, but what I do have, let me see if I can focus. If you really look, you can see all these little isopods in there. I have thousands of isopods in here. Literally thousands and thousands. Let me see if it'll focus. All those little guys running around in there. And I'm really thinking about getting a mandarin, dragonet, goby, whatever you may call it, to put in there to eat those guys. Because they're just the prettiest fish in my opinion. And I really want to get another clown, so that'll definitely be next. My clown was just so active and happy to have another little clown in there, and I just feel like it's time for him to have a buddy. But the mandarin dragonet is just the ultimate fish for me besides a shark or a purple tang. And that would be way down the line for me once I actually know what I'm doing, hopefully. But I think that would be my next big move. And I know the tank size is a little small, but I've also got a 40-gallon back here that with some fish in it that I'm going to be moving out because I'm building a pond outside. And I've got some goldfish and stuff over there from the pond at my previous house that I'm going to be putting out there in a big pond that I'm digging. So that's the plan. But anyway, right now I just want to add another clown. At some point I would like to get more corals back in here, probably just a few. And there is one more thing I purchased, which I've already kind of talked about, but let's go down to one of my cabinets here. So amongst the tons and tons of foods, if you're wondering what foods I feed, all kinds of different foods, mostly Hikari and Aquarium Co-op. But this right here is a refractometer, which, whoops, hope I'm opening it. Yep. So it says $50. I got this at the pet store. The guy gave me a discount on it though. You can get these on Amazon for like 15 to 20 bucks. I think they're less than 20. I'm positive they are. And the way they work, they're really not complicated. You syringe up some water. This flap here opens up. I always wondered this because you see them in videos every now and then. This is solid. I always thought this was a chamber that goes down in there, but no. You squirt the water right here. It'll kind of run down. And then when you squish this on there, it kind of siphons to the glass, and you look into the light with it. And this isn't a button. There's no buttons or anything on it. It's very simple. Hold it up into the light, and you'll be able to see the salinity just like on your hydrometer, but supposedly these are a little more accurate. And it's a little quicker. It's less messy than a hydrometer, so I actually like it more. I'm glad I got it. But I'll leave a link to that as well in the description, guys. Very easy to use, and I definitely recommend it. Like I said, way less messy. I was taking my smaller version of this and filling up my hydrometer, and I always spill water everywhere. So I would recommend that. But anyway, Reef Tank is looking so nice right now. I should probably stop calling it a reef tank. It's not really a reef tank right now, but saltwater tank, marine tank, whatever you want to call it. This pump back here puts out so much flow and pressure, and I have it on the timer, which actually I'll probably include that too if you don't have one of these. This is a ZoomEd timer down here. So you can do one side of timed outlets and one side of just normal outlets. And when this light kicks off, this pump kicks off at the same time. And that way at nighttime, there's just a little less flow. Now this nymph normally stretches all out, and he's actually really good size. And fed him a nice piece of scallop the other day. He just sucked it right up. Must have been pretty hungry. But you can see my tuxedo urchin and then my turbo snail back there. He's getting pretty big on me. And if you guys remember, I actually lost one of my turbo snails. I had two, which is probably far too much for this tank, but got out before I had the lid on there. And one more thing I'm going to add is another emerald crab. I don't know if it's because I neglected the tank so bad before that I lost two of my emerald crabs, but hoping to get another one to go up on that algae. And still got some blue leg hermit crabs in there, but trying to keep it simple but fun to look at, and having the two clowns in there just made it so much more fun. It was really lovely to watch them swim together because they kind of play around a little bit. Yeah, they were a really great pair. I'm really sad actually I lost the other one. It was a normal as well. They start with a P. I can't remember the name of them. I know there's two different kind of ones. And the ones that I get from the pet shop, the owner told me, you know, they're captive bred, they're pretty hardy fish. So he was really surprised that it had died, and that's why he wanted to check my salinity. And all my other levels came back good. pH was a little bit low at like 8, but he told me everything else looked fine. And I mean, I test the water too. So if you don't have a master test kit, well, I might have broke my UV light there. But if you don't have one of these master test kits, I'll one of those in the description. Maybe I can rack up enough pennies to pay for a new UV light someday. This tank directly behind me is my snail breeder. It's got a couple mollies in there that I've had for years. Some of the offspring of those, they're the only two left. I did have a bunch, and I actually used to feed them to my fish over here. And so that's just a snail breeder now, ram's horn snails that I also feed to my fish over there. And then you get my ADA with the cardinals. I know some people had said they wanted to see that in the past. It's got 5 cardinals I've had in there for a really long time. That was my very first tank right there actually. It used to be in there, and then I moved them all to there slowly after I got into the hobby. And I've moved all of these tanks with the fish in them. I took the fish out and I actually put them in a jar. I've got 2 twig catfish in there and ram's horn snails, and then the 5 cardinals. Had them for years and years. I did have some hillstream loaches in there, but after the insulation guy knocked the insulation in my tank, my hillstream loaches died. So I was really upset about that. They're little stingrays, and they're really fun to watch. They play around a lot, and they're very active in the tank. And I also got some, I bought the Aquarium Co-op Corey's his breeder for brine shrimp, and it works really well, and they go absolutely berserk. Actually, clownfish love them too, so it's called Artemia. And if you've never used one, it's really easy to breed brine shrimp, and you can keep them in the fridge. They'll stay alive in the fridge for a week. It's pretty insane. They're pretty tough little guys. I don't know if it's just his brine shrimp from wherever he sources them, but they're awesome. My CO2 is empty right now. I got to make some more gas, and I really need to rescape this tank. It's kind of dated and just not looking that great, and that's because I was not putting as much effort into all my tanks, but now I'm getting a little more time to do that. And I need to take down this tomato plant back here. I've been doing hydroponics, growing tomatoes out of my 40-gallon for since I've moved into our new house here. But I also really like the new Fluval light that I have up here because it's programmable. The one that comes on these tanks is not good. It stays on at one level. It doesn't slowly come off and on. And on my other tanks, those two, they have, I think they're Haiger lights, and they come on slowly and dim. They're like a natural light that it slowly comes on, slowly goes off. This one back here does not do that. That's the only one. It shuts off, shuts on with a timer. And eventually I'll go to a Haiger light on that when that one starts to go out. That way it's a little more natural and doesn't scare the fish as much. If you've ever seen cardinal tetras, when they get scared, if the light, I had the power go off and on the other day, and it's so crazy because they turn totally clear. They're translucent, and then they turn bright blue and red again, and they're just one of the nicest looking fish. I don't know if I'll be able to get them in there or not, but I've had those 5 for a really long time. I lost one last year. It really upset me. One of the pack got a little almost like ick or something on its tail, and I was trying antibiotics and all kinds of stuff, hoping I could save it, and it ended up dying on me. But he fought it for a long time. I really thought I was going to get him back, but I'm really afraid. I want more of them. I would love to have a tank full of them, and I'm just afraid to introduce anything else to the tank because I've had it for so long now, and I don't want them to get any diseases or anything. And I don't have a good hospital tank. I could put them in my snail tank, but I just don't want to do it. And the only other dream fish I have is for freshwater is the celestial pearl danios. I've bought a couple $100 worth of them, and I can just never make them live. So if anyone keeps those CPDs or Galaxy Rasbora, they go by different names, Give me some tips in the comments because I cannot keep them alive to save my life. I don't know the trick. My water parameters are all good. The only thing I can think of is maybe you have to have high numbers so that they feel like less stress maybe. But they're just the most cool little fish. Besides the cardinal tetras, you can see them kind of back there. I think cardinals are my favorite freshwater fish. But hopefully you guys enjoyed this little update. It's been a hot minute, and I look forward to sharing my pond with you guys actually, because I've got a pretty crazy pump for it. So I'm hoping the waterfall I got for it that I'm going to be building is not too small, and I'm doing a custom filtration setup. And I'm really excited to get my fish out there. If it's big enough, I might even do some koi. I would like to build it big enough for koi, honestly. That would be the ultimate really cool deal. But if not, I may just stick with a comet goldfish or something. But I hope you guys enjoyed this, and it feels really good to have this tank back up. I felt really terrible that Erwin here was having to suffer because of my negligence. And like I said, I'm trying to keep myself accountable, and I think I've came around and he seems really happy. So, all right. My wife and I went to Egypt as well. I have these that we wore when we were riding camels. We went in a lot of different pyramids and stuff. It was really cool. So I keep these back here in case you're wondering why I have these. That's why. And let me tell you, there is no fish keeping in Egypt. There's a lot of fish eating though. Ash wanted to come join me. Say bye, buddy. Say bye. All right. Bye, y'all.